We are flipping the pyramid. Flipping the pyramid.
Flipping the pyramid.
Flipping the pyramid.
Flipping the pyramid.
Flipping the pyramid.co.uk.
Flip the pyramid.
Turning that pyramid on its head.
Flipping the pyramid.
Flip the pyramid.
Flipping the pyramid.
Flip the pyramid.
Flipping the pyramid.co.uk.
Flipping the pyramid.
Flipping the pyramid.
Flipping the pyramid.co.uk.
Flipping the pyramid.
Flipping the whole paradigm of that hierarchical system on its head.
Well, hello and good evening and welcome along once again to the reality check with Bluebus here on Flipping the Pyramid, and live this evening on the 24th of September 2012. Yeah, we're here again, once again. The weeks go by so fast. I can't believe it's a week since I did my last one. They seem to be getting shorter and shorter. But welcome along everybody. I hope everybody's good. And a little bit of good news, yeah, it's actually stopped raining. It's been raining here for about, I'm not kidding you, about 20 hours non-stop. And it's been pretty bad up here, so apparently we're expecting a lot more as well. So more of this awful weather we've been having off and on throughout all of the summer as well. And today, I've never seen anything like it, I must say. I mean, I braved it on my bike to work as well, so you know, I thought, sod it, I put my waterproofs on and off I went, and yeah, it was almost like I was approaching little mini rivers along these country lanes I have to go to work, and yeah, and thanks to all those drivers who splashed me as well. Cheers for that, I like that, yeah. But yeah, and it's been pretty horrendous anyway, so hopefully it doesn't cause too much trouble. But the fields around me were just literally looked like swimming pools. I couldn't see any grass, it was just all water with you know, hedges around. Crazy stuff going on with the weather, but you know, I'm not going to talk about the weather tonight. We can get into that maybe in some other, maybe later on, who knows. I don't think we've got any stories related to weather engineering, who knows what's going on, but we've had some mad weather anomalies this past, I'd say, few years. I've mentioned this loads of times, and I think this year, especially in this country anyway, it's going to be the wettest, well, certainly the wettest summer we've ever had on record, and I'm sure it's going to be probably the wettest year. It's going that way anyway. If it doesn't stop raining, oh my god, I don't know what to do. But anyways, welcome along. It's the reality check, like I say, and blimey, where do we start? There's so much to talk about. There's so many things going on at the moment. I'd just like to also say thanks to Keelan last night for his show. Had a listen in, and good stuff as always. But yeah, touching on a lot of the subjects that you know, are still in the forefront of our, you know, in our media, our mainstream media, and us here at Flipping the Pyramid delving a little bit deeper into the truth and finding, you know, the real reasons why all this is really going on, or trying to put the pieces together, trying to, you know, make some sense of it all, really. But like I say, where do we start? I mean, it's just an unbelievable time at the moment with so much going on. Like I've said many times, we just seem to be getting inundated with lots of fear and mainstream media hype about all sorts of things. The government are going crazy. There's ministers swearing at police officers now, apparently, leaving the House, number 10 or whatever, the House of Commons, you know, calling what we all think policemen are plebs. So, you know, there's the government angle, there's the money situation, there's the potential war that's about to possibly kick off in the Middle East, with all the stuff going on with Iran and Israel and Syria, and it's all just getting, you know, it's all just bubbling away, it seems to me. And I've said many times, you know, it's they seem to just be keeping us on the edge of this, you know, this cliff where, you know, potential economic disasters about to occur, or potential world wars about to, you know, come out. And I think the important thing about all of this is not to get too you know, if you're like worried about it, in the sense that it makes you fearful, it makes you, you know, scared, or, you know, you can't do anything, or the government is just too powerful and they are saying too many things that, you know, they just make the decisions as they go, and I did see something interesting today. I was watching a small clip from a new interview by Graham Hancock, and he did say something which was quite funny, which he said, one of his quotes is that every Prime Minister should do at least 10 sessions of ayahuasca before he's elected to public office, which I totally agree with, actually. Even though I've never tried ayahuasca, I know people who have, but that's coming from a guy who has done a lot of research himself into these subjects, and sees it like we do, I suppose. It's all, the government is just a group of elected people who just do what they want, and are criminals as well. Most of the ones who are currently in power and the ones who've been past power, they've all done their awful deeds and continue to do so. Committing atrocities in other countries, committing setting up illegal wars and false flag events, etc., etc. And I think that's where we're at. We are able to dissect and look at these stories in a lot more what you call bigger awareness, with a bigger picture, because when you see all these little stories and these little hit pieces you see in the newspapers and the online, whatever, they all maybe don't make much sense reading them individually, and people dismiss them, but when you put them together with what their agenda is and where they're pushing us and where we're going, it seems to make a lot of sense. Especially with the transhumanism events that are happening, and how that agenda's being pushed. I'm seeing more of that every day. I mean, every day I go online, I just have a scroll through these mainstream media news outlets just to see what they're trying to sort of, if you like, put into people's minds in a subconscious way, in a very subliminal way, just planting the seeds. And that's why most of the show I will look into these and reveal them for what they are. Really, I think that's the trick. And unfortunately, a lot of people just read them and it doesn't, they just dismiss it. But it's gone in somewhere. So it's when they roll out a bigger plan for something, all those little tiny little snippets that have been reported on for the last few years or even longer. Suddenly there's no opposition, there's no outcry, because they've been telling you and drip feeding you this kind of technology, or whatever it may be the agenda is for, to control you, to take away another freedom. This is why it's all done. It's done in a very clever way, and it's used to sort of move your opinion or your thought processes into their thought processes, into their thinking, into what they think is right and wrong. And they do that very cleverly, really, because they work on emotions. They work on, setting up emotional states. When they have false flag events, for instance, where people are being killed, and especially, in the UK mainland where we've had anything, it's a perfect opportunity for the government to really sort of, go to work on us, and really sort of, bring something in that is going to take another freedom off us, etc. And we've seen that roll out big time in the last 10 years, massively so. Anything before 9/11, yeah, it was obvious, but it wasn't too obvious. It wasn't being pushed down your throat. It wasn't being in your face type of thing. And these last sort of 10 years, it's been really just ramping up even more. But like I say, where do we start? I've been looking online. I've had a few little wanders into the internet, as I do. But a couple of interesting things I did see was, again, the sort of aim on sort of taking away your freedoms and locking you down. Is this story coming out of RT? It says, enemy at the gate. It says new cameras can identify you by your walk. So the new technology now is just going ahead so quickly. We all have a certain walk. We have an individual footprint, so to speak. We all have a certain movement, and it's all individual to us. And these new cameras that are being rolled out are being able to. They're being developed by the British National Physical Laboratory, and it can locate basically signature walks. It says serious privacy concerns have been aired about the system and its potential surveillance applications, but serious concerns. I mean, they've already rolled out quite a lot of things. They've already got face recognition technology going strong. So again, another example of them trying to sort of almost sort of say, well, it's happening anyway. I'll stick the link in. You can have a look at the story. But again, this technology is being used, if you like, against us. It's not being used for our safety. It's being used to identify, log, and track everybody. By the way, not just criminals. It's everybody. It's this is where we have lost our way in this, I think. Or when people argue with you about CCTV, or they don't mind, it's just for everybody. And this whole technology is just getting more and more intrusive, and more and just basically taking away your rights to be able to do things privately or go somewhere privately without being tracked or watched. And I take a lot of, I don't know what it is. I just take exception to this this intrusion in my privacy. My personal opinion. I'm sure there's people who feel the same, but I just feel that for me to be able to walk and go somewhere, I don't want someone watching me or filming me everywhere I go. And the use of CCTV cameras now, and like this story here, just sees it morph and morph into more and more technological wonders they can do with these things now. And it's just more and more of these stories coming out. It just seems to be sort of endless at the moment with this, how they're pushing this sort of agenda, CCTV, transhumanism, man and machine, everything else coming together. It is something like out of 1984 or Aldous Huxley's novels or whatever. You can see these sorts of things playing out. So I'll stick the link in anyway. I don't know if you've already seen the story. To pick up on it a few days ago, but it just made me think again just how they are using the technology against us all of the time. But another interesting one I did see was it was coming out of a blog, which was this is something that again all to do with speaking out and being against. Just speaking out, basically, just not agreeing with something. It's not about being an anarchist, or you just don't agree with something. People always put labels on things. It really irritates me that everything has to be labelled and badged. Sometimes when it suits them. And it says here to find out what you are doing. So I said, take the test to see if you might be considered a potential terrorist by government officials. And these are the things that basically are things that can sort of put a light on top of your head, so they're watching you. Obviously speaking out against the government policies, what we do here, I'm sure we're being listened to, so hello. So everything has been, anyone speaking out against government, speaking out against the oppression or the regime or whatever you want to call it, definitely is flagged up. Protesting anything, basically, is a way to get yourself noticed with the powers that be. It says in questioning war, it says even though war reduces here our national security, it says, let me see this, but it says criticising the government's targeting of innocent civilians with drones. So you're not allowed to criticise your government if they're innocently bombing and killing people in other countries. That's you shouldn't question any of these things, because these people know what they're doing. They are killing in the name of democracy, the name of freedom. We're killing all these criminals and all these bad people. But as we find out, it's certainly, that's so far from the truth when you consider the innocent civilian casualties, which are always the people who are dying in more numbers than the terrorists or the soldiers. You take hundreds of soldiers and you always can 10 times that by the amount of civilians that have died. 100 times that. It's just so out of balance. So by speaking out against these kinds of drone attacks, these guys who sit in little rooms and have their little remote controls, and they fly over and they press a button and they release their weapon, and it's, you're not allowed to say that's wrong, or this is again just madness. But it says asking questions about pollution again can get you noticed. This is an American story, by the way. I'm sure over here it's exactly the same in the UK. And one interesting one, I think this is a joke, it says, paying cash at an internet cafe can get you noticed. How? I don't know. It says, asking questions about Wall Street and general financial institutions, banks, etc. And talking about creating alternative currencies, which I know Keelan mentioned in his show last night. And I did mention last night in a chat in Skype. We all remembered the lawful bank, which was the British Constitution, which is Roger Hayes, who set up this thing called the lawful bank. I won't stick a link in because most of you got that link, so I stuck it in there last night, but I'll try and find it somewhere. But again, just by speaking out against anything alternative basically, and getting you noticed, even having bumper stickers on your car, you might support this alternative viewpoint of somebody or whatever. Anything, infringing a copyright, downloading music, this can get you noticed as well, even though it's not quite the same, but still it's a way that they're controlling and tracking, all this sort of stuff. But it's interesting, like I say, just a little sort of bullet points about what you can get away with and what you will be noticed for, and basically supporting anybody who is for freedom, basically for this system to be dismantled and remodeled. We can't, the system we have in place now, and we've said this all the time, for a long time, it doesn't work. It just favours the people who have, and the people who have not, they're just left to die literally in the streets. It's a worldwide responsibility now, I think, that we need to undertake, in the sense that we don't need to have this situation occurring anywhere on the planet when we have far enough resources to spread our wealth, if you like, from the West into these countries. And we see the bullshit charities, we see all the bullshit propaganda with that, and I've had many discussions with people regarding charities and what they do. They do good work. I'm not dismissing the fact that they do help people, but the very fact of the matter is that it's just not anywhere near the amounts of monies that are being given or go into these charities. As we know, most of it's being funneled to the banks, believe it or not. We know this, so they tend to sort of give us this kind of sort of guilt complex if we're not donating and we can be helping. But just look at what's happened. I've been on this planet for 45 years, and I've seen billions and billions raised for charity. And what has it done? What has it really done? Has it stopped poverty? Has it stopped children dying and from just lack of nutrition and basic water supplies? Where has all this money gone? These areas are still there, these towns are still there, these places are still there that we went supposedly to help during, do you remember, I don't know if you're as old as me, but Live Aid and all that nonsense? Look what happened to these idiots who put that together. Look what them two are doing now, or Bob Geldof. It did nothing at all. And we still have the same problems today. So where's the money gone? Obviously not to the people who needed it. So like I say, it's proof positive to me that anything like this, charity wise, does not really solve the actual problem. It just puts a sticking plaster over it. It doesn't really get to the core of it, and we know what the core is. It's an agenda. It's a driven agenda, and most governments that are in these countries that have mass poverty and high death rate through lack of nutrition, these governments are all run and controlled by the West, and have massive take massive amounts of monies and just use it for themselves, as we see many times. But yeah, I'm going off track. But yeah, the whole thing is, if you believe in anything that is considered conspiracy, considered anything that just questions anything, you're labelled that a conspiracy theorist, not a thinker, not someone who can work it out or see holes in a story like any good analytical thinker can, or ask a question which doesn't make sense to you. You just have to believe the official line, the official government line. which is the biggest joke going most of the time, especially when you see something like the 9/11 Commission report. That's what you must believe. You cannot deviate from that. And people hold this document up and swear that this is the truth. And this is where we're at. So it's difficult for us to, break down that kind of thinking in people where, you can't sort of always be continually pulling things apart, but you've got to get in there, and you've got to get people to look at it as well. Because I've said it to many people, just look at things, look at the evidence, see what's around you, have a look, because it's not something that is going to instantly jump out at you, but just be able to think about it. And we said, too many distractions. We've said this many times, too many distractions, too many things going on. They've got us busy doing this, busy doing that. And when it comes to thinking about things and making a difference, people just feel completely disempowered, and that's what they want. So they have won 1-0 to them. But that is slowly, I think, shifting and changing, and this is why we're seeing all of this online. This is why we're seeing the fear stories about, the government are going to go looking for you, or you're going to be, they're going to be on your tail, they're going to be watching you. Well, so what? So what? If you know who you are and you know what you're doing here, and you're balanced in yourself, etc., and you know your place in the sense that you're responsible for yourself, then who needs to tell you anything? And this is where people are beginning to sort of get the idea that they are, sentient beings on this planet. We are powerful, and we have, that ability to be able to sort this out. But we've just been told we can't. And we have systems in place which keep us enslaved. Enslaved to vote. You have to vote. They're so entrenched in that indoctrination, in this paradigm, how we look at life. It's got to be fixed patterns. It has to be, we have to do this, we have to do that, and it's breaking that down and reprogramming yourself. And it's not an easy thing to do. And if you find yourself, and I think Cookie talked about this as well in his show last week, you find yourself very, you're coming into conflict sometimes as well with people, and you're finding it difficult to, if you like, you just feel that. Well, I've felt this the last few weeks. I must admit, I'm talking for me now. I felt, a little bit sort of, I don't know, weird. Like it seems that everybody seems so strange to me, and I don't know. It's just round here or whatever, and I don't feel like I, can. Want to go out and socialise with these people, even though I know community is so important. But at the current level of awareness, it just seems a waste of time at the moment. And I don't mean to be defeatist in that sense, but there's so many people who are just, especially in small towns and villages, and even in cities, it's a kind of just set that they have. They can't really, they don't want to question it. They don't want to maybe break out of that, because people like me come along and upset them, or don't mean to upset them, but just make them think about something, make them question something, and that questioning leads them to put the shutters up and run away, and call you a crazy man, whatever it is. Just getting people to do that is so difficult. So yeah, I keep striving on though. I'll keep going, and I'm sure as these awakening times are progressing, I'm sure there'll be more and more people who will start to look into subjects of their government and who controls them and what it's all about, because it needs to happen. I mean, I'm looking at social network sites, etc., just gauging a kind of like where people are maybe, and I'd say the numbers are getting more and more, but and like I say, with the internet the way it is, and the way it's trying to shut down things and censor things, and we see the complete and utter joke of YouTube, if you like, with this Muslim film. It's still up. I mean, we know, and we've said, videos are taken down on YouTube instantaneously almost if they get flagged, and this thing has been up for weeks now, months, and it's caused a lot of people to die. I think Pakistan, something like 16 people died at the weekend with these protests regarding this film, which I have to say I did watch, and I was of the same opinion as you, Cookie. Yeah, sure, it was 2 minutes of absolute crap, and I had to turn it off because I couldn't stand it anymore. It wasn't very good, and for people to use this and to get this this hate campaign underway, the Christians and Muslims. It's the old thing. It's been going on for so long, keeping people separated, keeping people one against the other. Just unbelievable that this we just don't see it, and people are prepared to go and, if you like, put their lives on the line to be so religious in that sense and die for something. And it's to me, it's just, again, brainwashing propaganda at the religious level is worse, because that's what causes all of the wars. This is why we're in constant bloody conflict, because of religion. It's all about conquer and divide, separation, one against the other, keeping us apart from each other, not expanding ourselves and looking at different cultures. That's why we've created the this hate, this racism. I mentioned it last week. This fear, because that's all that basically is. It's just fear. Racism is just a form of fear. I think it's just something that basically people are frightened of other people. They're frightened of change. They're frightened of seeing something different, because they've been so closed off in their little world, their little community. Instead of when somebody comes along who's different, you have a different approach, a welcoming approach. This is a fearful thing. It's a tribal thing. It's like we haven't been able to get rid of this tribal thinking, this kind of this is my house, this is my this is my land, or this is my country. And they use that so well. Again, they're using everything that they know about us against ourselves. These so-called higher powers, whoever they may be, these people running the show, these people at the very, very top, the people you don't see. It's important as well. I think that's been said a few times. It's the people you don't see. The people you see really are just the PR, the front people, the puppets for the regime, for the agenda, and they play their roles very well. But the real people who are really pulling these strings, you never see them, but they're there, and this is where this agenda's all being pushed and rolled out the way it is. So yeah, anyway, I've been yakking for half an hour nearly now, so I'll take a little break. I want to get into something else in the next bit of the show, but I'll play a bit of music, and let's have a look. Again, totally disorganised. I'll play a piece of music, and I'll be back after this. Hi, and welcome back. Little tune there, which is who's that by now? Can't remember. It's up here somewhere. Change your Siri with a load of stuff there. Marcel Cartier, that's the one. Sorry, yeah, that's the guy. Check that out. That's I nicked that off Red. Hope you don't mind, Red. I nicked that off you. But welcome back. It's Reality Check with Bluebus, Monday evening, through till about 9ish. Who knows, might go until 10 the way I'm going tonight. But welcome along. If you just caught this half hour, then been talking about all sorts of stuff in the last half hour. Mainly the war against all your freedoms, basically. And one poster, I just chucked it in the chat there. I don't know if anybody saw it. This Islamophobia poster, which is apparently going up in New York the next couple of days. It's going to be the war. It says the war between the civilized man and the savage. Support the civilized man. It says support Israel, defeat jihad. And this is a poster that's going up all around New York subway stations, apparently. So again, I mean, this is it beggars belief. I mean, is there any wonder we have this hate and this I mean, people should be just be ripping these things down, or doing something, because I mean it's just another example of what I was talking about in the first half an hour. This constant war against each other. And I have been around a bit. I haven't been around a bit, but I've been to the Middle East. I went to Israel and that, and I've met Arabs, I've met Israelis. A few years ago, I might say, but still no different in the sense that the country was still the same in the sense that it was under constant threat of war and bombing the Palestinians. It was still doing that back in the day when I went in the early 90s. So nothing's changed there. I didn't see the full geopolitical spectrum of it at the time, because I was out there doing voluntary work and stuff. So I was just having fun, but I was also picking up and meeting the people I was around and chatting to them, etc. in various situations. And I met both Arab and Israeli. I met Palestinians. I met to me, all of them seemed like great people. Nobody seemed to want to fight each other. Obviously, they didn't mix, but when you met them, they seemed like very, very nice people, the Palestinians. And again, it's just another example of how we're being brainwashed into thinking we're all against each other. We all hate each other. We've all got these problems, and we have to go back and support our religious beliefs and say we fight Allah or we fight Christians or whatever it may be. It's all bullshit. It really is all bullshit. And I think really deep down in everybody's heart, wherever you are on the planet, if you're in any kind of engagement in the sense that your government is fighting a war on your behalf, I think deep down we know it's all bollocks. And we know it's all wrong. We know it shouldn't be happening. But again, the disempowerment, the fact that they just do what they want, whatever country you are in, I'm sure there's Israelis who are, more than pissed off with what's going on in their country and are more, aware of the whole agenda that's being carried out. But it's just another, like I say, another example of what is going on, and to put posters around and literally, I mean, it's disgraceful. It really is. It actually, I'm lost for words when I see things like that, and people let it happen. People are letting that happen. If you put a poster up, with the reverse on it, what would happen? With the reverse message, a message against the Christian world. They're going around, then they'll drone you, then they'll bomb you, then they'll do all sorts of horrible things to you and your family and people who and if you're against them. I mean, we see this happening, every day in this country. People who just speak out, and they're called hate preachers. We've had some news today. I can't remember his name now, but the guy who'd been locked up for a while is now being extradited back to the US. Abu Hamza, I think it is. He's being extradited now, and again, I didn't hear what he said, but I'm sure you're allowed to say and speak what you like. Again, freedom of speech, something that is being they call it hate speech, and link it to 7/7, and we all know the many holes in 7/7, just like 9/11. Things that don't kind of add up, things that don't make sense, things that were missing, things that are just dusted under the carpet. We won't talk about that, and again, it's selling you a load of lies and a load of propaganda, and it's something that I find very difficult to to understand, and the fact that people don't see it. I mean, there's a story coming out today, the BBC News, about Mark Duggan. This is an ongoing case. Obviously, Mark Duggan was the gentleman who was shot in North London, which sparked the riots last summer. And apparently today, coming out of the courts in the hearing, it says the police seals, which is the seals they put around the car or evidence, which they seal off the evidence basically, had been tampered with, had been broken. It says jurors heard a vehicle recovery driver saw a police officer seal the doors, but soon after driving it away was told to return to the car. To return the car to the scene, which in my book means that someone could tamper with this thing. It basically it says Nicholas Goldsmith, the driver of a recovery vehicle used by the police to transport the car away from the scene in Ferry Road, just the car that Mark Duggan was murdered in, told the court he had watched the police officer seal each of the doors on the Toyota minicab. And it says en route to the police pound in Perivale, West London, with the car on its trailer, he received a call telling him to turn around and take the minicab back to Furry Road, the court heard. He said he was told to put it about 40 feet, 12 metres from where he collected it, in an area he was told had already been searched. Unusual. It says Mr. Goldsmith had worked for the private recovery contractor GNS Motors for 2 years. Said he was not told the reason for what he described as an unusual instruction. So, something going on there, methinks. But the story doesn't go into much detail because it just says the case continues. But again, why would you want to take the vehicle back to where the offence took place or the shooting took place and put it back there after it already been sealed by the police to take away for evidence? So the seals were broken, something happened. Again, as we know, the police, they don't lie, do they, the police? No, of course they don't lie. No, they don't lie about Hillsborough, did they? No. Come on, guys. I mean, this is what it's about. The police are lying all the flaming time. They're part of the problem in the sense that at their higher levels, they will cook the books. They will change it for what they want. They look after each other. They're all part of the same horrible cabal of people at the top. The top of the police force is the same as the top of the government. They're all working, together. They will never sort of, if you like, they will offer up the odd sacrifice now and again. Certainly in politics they do that quite readily. They offer up the sacrifice, the man who falls on his sword, or whatever it is, or however you want to call it. But in the police force, it seems, they can do these sorts of things because they are the state, aren't they? They can do what they want. And it's, even if it's revealed in a court, I mean, they're not going to, this jury, or whatever else they're going to hear about this incident, where this guy had a gun, but the fact that, it wasn't even in his hand, he didn't even have it, like, visibly seen or whatever it was, but he was still shot dead. Surely that's not, not right. But, as we see with many police cases, policemen tend to get off, or police officers, should I say, because policemen and police constables, no, they don't exist anymore. Well, they try to, but unfortunately they're just police officers now. But yeah, so that's an interesting twist in the Mark Duggan case, and like I say, that sparked the riots of last summer, in London and across other cities. Or to do with that was the catalyst, if you like, but obviously the looting and everything else that went on top of it. But the whole thing again just stinks to me. This evidence, and they're even telling you they've done something dodgy. Who knows what the agenda is with the BBC? We'll never know, but they're part of the problem anyway, as we know. But when police officers are even found out to have lied. It doesn't matter if it's 20 years later or 5 minutes, it's a lie. They've lied. There's no trust there anymore. There's no, these people are, supposedly be, to protect us, and we know that is definitely not the case. They're there to protect the state, corporate property, and that old lady who sits on that big chair with the silly hat on. That's all they're there to do. And that's and anything else in between, they just do what they like. It seems they get away with stuff. Like I say, no policeman's ever been brought to trial or convicted anyway of a murder or manslaughter against anyone in police custody. We've never seen that. So they look after themselves, and as we know, they're all part of the same cabal. They're all part of the same little group. And it's sad to see, so sad to see. But anyway, I thought I'd throw that one in. I wasn't going to actually talk about that. But one thing I wanted to chuck in there, I don't know if you saw the link I just threw in about living in the future, which was just something I saw the other week. I thought I'd mention it. It's about, again, getting back to sort of, if you like, where do we start? How do we start to rebuild? Where do we go? What do we need? We've been talking a lot recently about the economic collapse and the increase in food prices, and the sudden surge of that could catch people out. So we've been talking about getting stocks of food in, not going crazy, of course, not going mad, but just get extra bits in. And this little link I put in the chat earlier was about this guy who got a group of people together in the eco village in North Wales and built their own home. And on the link, obviously, if you're listening on radio or pod or whatever, you can't see this, but it's called Charlie's House. But there's a whole episodes, one from 1 to 45, and I just saw this the other week, and obviously the whole video presentation will take a long time, but the last one there shows you the finished house, which looks absolutely great, all built basically from stuff out the woods, and a little bit of obviously internal things they've had to put in. They've got underfloor heating in there, etc. But the majority of that house has been built from nothing other than what's around them. And to think, they've come up with that, which I think is fantastic. If you've seen the pictures, and you've get a chance to see some of the videos, just it's good to see people just getting this thing done and helping each other out. And it's great to see. And one of the guys who was involved in this was a guy called Nick, who I met last year, who was the guy who turned up with his geodesic dome, which was cool. And so it's people banding together and working as teams, working as groups to achieve something as great as what they've done there. But I just wanted to mention that because we need to start thinking about what are we going to do. If it all does go tits up. I mean, we can't all move to the forest. I know that we can't all move to live in the wild. We have to stick together. I've said this as well, but it just shows as an example of how people can work together to achieve good things. And knowledge is power, and people have lots of knowledge, and people don't even realise they've got good knowledge, and when they're given the chance to speak, or it's just the way our society's tailored at the moment. The people who have all the knowledge or have all the good things to say are never given the chance, because we obviously have our mainstream media dictating everything that should be said and how it should be said and how it should be presented. So people never get a chance to speak out, and just in small groups as well. In a general group, you always get people who won't, because of the way everything is. You have to have these dominant people. You have to have these people who know more than you or have a higher status than you. So you can't possibly, add anything valuable to this, discussion, whatever it may be about. And this is the problem we have. We don't take the time to listen to each other sometimes. So again, this is again a good example of people working together to achieve good things. So I thought I'd throw that one in. But yeah, so. I wanted to mention a couple of other stories as well before I depart. Excuse me. Take a drink of water. This is leading on from again. It's the iPhone's been in the news quite a bit, and I did see a story today, which I know they're saying they can. We mentioned a story a few weeks ago on Flipping the Pyramid regarding the iPhone being turned off when you're at, say, any government buildings or protesting. But this story coming out of CNN says that this technology and what you can do with your Apple phone in the future is going to be quite amazing as far as they're concerned. I find it quite worrying. But anyway, I'll stick the link in. But it says Apple's secret plan to join iPhones with airport security. Yes, your iPhone can do all sorts. It can even get you through airport security. So I'll stick that in there anyway. You can have a look at the story. I'll sort of talk around it a bit, but there we go. Yes, it says, what if you found yourself stuck alone at a faraway airport with no money, credit cards or ID? How easily could you fly back home? Blah blah blah. Wallet, they're so 2008. Oh yeah, you don't need your wallet, you don't need cash, do you? You've got your iPhone, that does everything for you. It says they basically are putting, there's an app here they do, I think it's called, what is it called? I can't even see it now. It says they've got an app for their phone. It says also inventing Passbook. That's it. It's called Passbook, an app which organises e-boarding passes, flight reservations, coupons, and other documents. And it, it goes on basically that they're looking to, expand this sort of, type of way in which you use your phone. Again, it does everything for you. You don't have to do anything. Another example of people not really paying much attention really to exactly what the hell's going on. But that's an interesting one coming out of CNN. Really going for it. It's the thing to do now. Everything's done on your phone, and like I say, airport security. Oh my God! The story. There was a story here coming out of the Daily Fail as well. Controversial naked air body scanners to be scrapped after failing to receive European approval, apparently. So if this is true, now it's coming out of the Daily Mail, so don't count on it. It says the last remaining full body X-ray airport scanners are to be scrapped within weeks, it says here. The security systems which have been tested at air terminals since 2009 scan through passengers' clothes, creating a detailed blah blah image, yes, and giving you a nice dose of radiation on top of it. And they've basically been saying that in private, people have been mentioning the radiation risk of cancer. Some Muslim groups also refuse to walk through them on religious grounds, etc., etc., etc. So they've decided now to pull these machines out. And it says here, Manchester Airport will be the last in Britain to still be using naked scanners. Is still the last to be using the scanners. It said it will now have to spend 1.1 million to replace them with new devices. Well, there you go. Maybe you should get a refund or something. Maybe you should have asked the question before you put them in. But you weren't even given a choice. They were just put in. So that's all just bullshit anyway. Apparently they're being all, the European Union have said they're not going to have them. So that's an unusual twist, really, in this story. I don't know if I'll stick the link in. I don't know if I did. I'll put it in now. But yeah, just again, this has been, in the news a lot over the last few years since these things were introduced, and we know the health problems with them. And the basic, there you go, the basic invasion of privacy. I mean, to see you naked, etc. They've been talking about it for, like I say, 2 or 3 years now. So for them to come out and say that they're going to take them out of the UK and generally around Europe, yeah, I don't know what to make of that really. What else are they going to do? Interesting twists and turns as we go through all of these different stories, each week. But there was a couple of other bits I wanted to throw in as well before I depart. And let's see, where's that story? This smartphones. This is again CNN. I don't know what the hell I've been doing looking at CNN. I'll have to have my head tested. How smartphones make us superhuman. Again, another hit piece, another example of, what now? These things are going to, enhance your life and make things wonderful, happy and lovely for you. When, we know that, as I've said in the early part of the show, just exactly what these guys are up to. But an interesting story in the fact that I saw this link, and then as I looked on, I saw one which says, which is coming from the same person actually, so contradicting their own story. I'll stick both of them in there so you can have a look. How they make us stupid. So it's kind of like, what are they trying to do with our heads on these stories? And this one, how they, on second thought, maybe smartphones make us super stupid. Yeah, I kind of think that they don't make us stupid. I think they make us lazy. But I do think that these stories, the way that they're coming out at the moment, make you think, the agenda of how they're, pushing, you must have this equipment, this, that, and the other. We've seen the Apple launch, etc. This media hype, and they want everybody involved in this new technology, and they want us all frothing at the mouth for it. And as we saw with the launch of the iPhone 5, the queues round the block for that were just ridiculous, really. And again, another example of the sheeple or the mass mentality. Call it what you want, and not being seen through it. And just amazing to think there's that many people who still would queue for days, to get these things. Absolutely mad. But anyway, guys, I'll call it a day, and thank you for listening. I'll be back next Monday, but don't forget, flippingthepyramid.co.uk. Check out the website. And the next show after me will be Cookie on Thursday, which is virtual shamanizing. Not too sure about Wednesday. I think Ian may be coming back, but hopefully he does. So if you're listening, Ian, on pod, how you doing? Hope you're well. Ian would do a show on a Wednesday normally, doing a punk show, but I'm not sure if he's going to be away for a few weeks, so we'll wait and see. But Thursday evening is Cookie with virtual shamanizing between 9 and 11, and Red on Friday evening will be doing his music show between 9 and 11. And don't forget Sunday with Keelan and the White Shut webcast, that is on between 8 and 9. Yeah, so check that out. That's Keelan Balls and White Shut webcast. And I leave you with a piece of music that I did want to play last week, and for some reason I had problems with my connection and you didn't hear this, so well, I think the guys in the chat did, but I'll play it again. But take care, guys. I'll speak to you next week, and have a good one. And always, follow the truth, and be good. Have a good one, guys. See you later.
We are flipping the pyramid. Flipping